The real estate market in the Lower Mainland, and specifically in the areas that I service in the Fraser Valley, has absolutely exploded in activity in the last few months to a point where it is just getting to be unbelievable again already. Call it seasonality, call it whatever you want, but sales have almost tripled since what they were in January of the start of this year. Here's the problem though with the busy market. With a busy market comes tactics that, well, probably nobody enjoys. And I mean nobody. These are tactics that we first saw show signs of life in 2015, and they keep coming back again and again and again whenever the market seems to get busy. The biggest problems I see with this tactic is not only is it hurting the industry and the reputation of realtors in it, but it's also hurting the public. Today's video is all about what this tactic is, what can be done to combat it if you are a home buyer looking to purchase a home. And towards the end of the video, I'm gonna ask you a question on what you think we can do to help fix it and get rid of it. Plus, you do wanna make sure you hang around to the end because I wanna make sure you have access to our free PDF on how to find off-market properties if you are a home buyer and you are experiencing this wicked and wild marketplace that is happening right now. So if that all sounds good, let's jump into it. I want to start today's video with a little bit of a story, kind of giving you a little bit of a painted picture of exactly what is happening out there right now if you haven't bought a home lately or you're not buying a home currently. And this is how the story goes. You jump in your car and it's likely a Saturday or a Sunday. And the reason you're jumping in your car on this day is because this is the only day that you can go out and see a property. The property you want to go see, well, it's been underlisted for sale. If you're not familiar with that means that the price of the home is listed for less than what the sellers likely expect to sell it for. You've been scouring the internet all week looking for homes for sale, and you send me a frantic text message. We need to go see this house right now. It is a steal of a deal. How could it be priced so cheap? We love it. We want it. Let's go, let's go, let's go. And of course I tell you, yeah, we'll go see it, but they're not letting anybody into the weekend. So you're now driving around and it's likely during an open house time where you are looking to get into this house of your dreams, the one that looks like a steal of a deal, underpriced, ready for your offer. You show up to the open house, it's incredibly busy. There's people everywhere. Oftentimes there may even be a lineup outside the door. But no fear, you get in, you look around, and you absolutely love it. You want to write an offer on this property now. But your next problem is, well, the seller, they're not looking at offers until a few days later. They've intentionally underlisted the property to put it into multiple offers so they can try and get more than what the likely market value of that property would be if they had done it differently, a more traditional approach where they priced the home for what they thought it actually was going to sell for. Now, this makes it really tough for you as the home buyer to buy this home. And the reasons that makes it so tough is because you're now competing against other people. Almost like a poker game, you have no idea what cards they're holding nor what cards they're prepared to play. Offer presentation night comes, you put in the very best bid that you can, and you don't get the house. There was 10 other offers. There was 5 other offers, 10 other offers, 21 other offers. You're devastated, you're bummed out, and you're sick of the games. This story, unfortunately, is all too real for many home buyers trying to locate a property in the Lower Mainland right now, whether it is in Surrey or anywhere else. And in fact, we're running into this scenario more often than not with the people we are helping to purchase a home. Take Louie and Daisy as an example, whose names have been changed for the purpose of their privacy, who went out to look at a lovely condominium that they were so excited to purchase, listed for only $500,000. The exact scenario that I just listed in our somewhat fictitious story played out for them. And when it became time to present the offers to the sellers, the property was so much underlisted and so far underlisted that they ended up receiving 11 offers that evening. But here's the crazy frustrating part that I think anybody will appreciate. Out of those 11 offers, the sellers, well, they didn't choose to work with any of them. That's right. Out of the 11 offers, none of them matched the seller's unreal expectations of what the home would actually sell for, and they canceled or terminated the listing and relisted it a few days later over $200,000 more. And that listing, of course, is still sitting on the market today. So Why can we play these games in selling homes, and why is it happening, and why do sellers choose to employ it? And better yet, what can we do to fix this problem? Unfortunately, there is no legal restrictions on what's happening out there right now. And when a home is offered for sale, it doesn't mean that if someone presents just simply the offered price, that the seller even has to work with it. There's so many more other things that go into selling a home when you write a contract, like the dates, the terms of the sale, what's included. And of course, the seller has to agree to all these terms to really make it a binding agreement. It doesn't work like when you go into a store and you see an item offered for sale. Well, legally, they have to give you that item for the price that they're advertising it for. Buying a home doesn't work the same. And before you light up the comment sections about the realtor's role in these games that are happening out there, I want you to understand something, that it's not just the real estate community that is making this happen. Most sellers ultimately are going to become buyers, and many of them start their journey by going out to open houses to see not only what similar homes like theirs might look like and be selling for, but they also want to check out the listings that they potentially want to buy. They see what's happening out in the marketplace, and they start to hear stories about these homes going into multiple offers because they're underlisted for sale. The price they're listed for is more of a marketing price, not really an expected sale price. They know the deal, and when they hear of homes that sell for significantly over the asking price and probably for more than what they should have sold for in the first place, they want in on the action. In fact, if it can work for other sellers out there, it certainly could work for them as well. So while it may be easy to pin this on the realtors like this is some sort of strategy that the industry uses as a whole, it's not. It's something that sellers ask realtors to do day in and day out when they list their home because, of course, they want to absolutely maximize the sale price of their home. So everyone is kind of guilty in this. But before a seller engages in this type of activity, they need to understand that there are some pretty significant risks that they're putting themselves up to. Most of those risks end up being financial risks, but nonetheless, there's something that they need to consider. As an example, when they do this underpricing strategy, they're relying on many people to show up on the offer date. But what happens when the offer date comes and nobody shows up? There may have been a buyer that was prepared to buy the property a few days earlier, and they would have acted quickly. Perhaps they would have even offered asking price or more to get the property earlier, knowing that it very well was probably going into an open house and it was going to be a busy listing. Well, when the offer date comes to present all the offers that are supposed to be showing up, and that buyer learns that nobody put their foot forward, they now know that that seller is not nearly as popular as they once thought. They might be the only person willing to buy them. And now that high offer that they were prepared to present isn't coming in at the same price. They're going to put an offer in substantially lower because they know that the other buyers out there, well, they don't like that listing quite as much as the seller thought they would. You can lose a ton of leverage as a seller if nobody shows up at offer presentation time. The other thing that could happen to a seller is they could be responsible for the sales fees that are due to the listing realtor, the person they hired to help them sell the home. If the listing realtor fulfills the mandate of the agreement that they signed and deliver on what the seller's expectations were in writing, they could be responsible to pay the fees to that listing realtor. Now, while this is, something that can be said, oftentimes the listing realtor isn't on the gig, and because it's such a relationship business, they want to try and help the seller and work to cater what the seller's expectations and really game plan is for selling the listing. So my question to you watching this video is, this is obviously a market where it's not a great tactic for anybody except for the home seller. And it can cause a lot of trust and respect to be lost for not only the real estate industry, but the whole process in general. It just doesn't really seem right. So there's a few solutions that I've come up with that I think could really help things. However, I'm curious to what you think. Now, before I give you mine, I want you to give me yours. You've got access to the comment section below, and I'd love to know what you think could be done to help avoid this. And while you're down there, you could also let me know what you think of the tactics in general, because I'm really curious what the public thinks. So go ahead, pause the video, put your comment in. I want to know. Don't worry, I'll be here when you come back, and I'm going to tell you what I think the solutions to this problem are. So go. Have you not paused it yet? Okay, so hopefully you paused the video and you went and you put your comment below. Here are some of the solutions that I think could help fix this problem, to help make it better for absolutely everybody involved, and really level the playing field to make sure that home buyers are being protected, and the process seems a lot more fair. The first solution, which I don't necessarily love, is the open bidding system. Complete transparency to bidding. As an example, when someone wins a home that was listed at 1.4 million and sells for 1.65 million, well, how much did that winning buyer overpay from the next highest bid? This is something that the federal government has been talking about for a long, long time. And if you're curious about what they've been talking about and also my opinions on it, you've got this video right here where I dive completely into a white paper and a study that was done on exactly that, including what's been used in other countries who are modeling similar models. The second is somewhat similar to what the first one was, but it's really open auction style. If we're doing auctions essentially on these properties, we could create a more transparent system where everybody involved is available and there at the time it's happening, and then they can make decisions based on what is actually going down in real time. The third option is making a mandate that when a seller's conditions are met, they must sell the property. This means that a seller must advertise a bare minimum of what an acceptable price would be, as well as dates and terms that, if fulfilled, they must legally proceed to sell the home to that potential purchaser. This would completely eliminate that terrible story of what happened to Louie and Daisy, and they would have been able to purchase this home, or one of the other 10 offers that were presented that night at least would have a home coming out of that experience. And the final solution is one that is kind of homegrown, and that's using the power of the multiple listing service to put the onus back onto the real estate professional. So here's what I mean by that. Belonging to the MLS and being a realtor is kind of like belonging to a privileged club. Not everybody gets to be a part of it. And belonging to that club comes with a lot of responsibility and a lot of rules, mainly ones that center around protecting the public and doing the very best that we can for them. So since we have this ecosystem where we really control what the rules are going in, and of course the public absolutely wants to put their properties onto the MLS because it's a win-win for everybody, we could effectively hold the realtors accountable for when they list a property for sale. If they choose to underprice that listing, they have to defend the reasons why they did that. Now, this doesn't mean that if a house gets listed for sale for, let's say, $1 million and it ends up selling for 1.1, and it was just a crazy experience. Lots of people showed up and it was a very popular property for whatever reason, but it wasn't intentionally done that way. It wasn't intentionally underpriced. It just became very busy and went into multiple bids. Well, that would be something that a realtor could probably justify against a panel of their peers. However, when you have a $700,000 home that is listed for sale at $500,000, presented with 11 bids, and none of them are successful, well, that's purposely underpricing a home to drive up the value and put it into multiple offers. That's something completely different. So this realtor would have to defend their pricing, which they put on the MLS, with a panel of their peers. And if the panel of their peers found that they were engaging in underpricing to drive a home into multiple bids, there could be repercussions for that. Not only could there be repercussions for the realtor, but there could also be repercussions for the seller because they have engaged a real estate professional and want to go on the MLS to be part of this private club. So what if the seller, because they've predetermined their terms and conditions of this offer, including the minimum price that they would accept, if a buyer was to fulfill those and they were to not accept the offer, they would have to pay the real estate fees of any real estate professional who brought a buyer forward to buy their home and they didn't sell it to them. In the case of Louie and Daisy, this doesn't mean that the seller would be responsible for paying 11 real estate fees to potential buyer's agents. But what it does mean is they would be less incentivized to underprice their property and not accept something knowing that they may be responsible to a buyer's agent for fees when they didn't really even plan on selling for that price. So those are my ideas. And I'm curious what you think. Do you think some of those could work? One thing I do know is we need to figure out this problem. We need to figure it out as an industry and we need to figure it out as a society because it's not good for anyone. My industry is an incredibly proud industry where we take pride in not only protecting the public, but servicing them to ensure that their real estate experience is one that they can get excited about. However, the only challenge is we are by nature competing at all times, meaning a seller and a buyer have opposing needs and we have to find a way to account for those appropriately. And the one thing that I do know is if we cannot figure this out and we cannot come up with an in-house industry-made solution, we're gonna get a solution handed to us. We'll get a solution handed to us just like we did when the 3-day rescission period, which just came in as of January of this year, well, we might get something very similar to that. And oftentimes when we get something handed to us from government, it's not overly thought out. And we get allowed to work out the kinks as an industry and make it better over time. But those that have to abide by it in the meantime, well, they suffer the consequences of it. We did a video on this 3-day rescission period. If you're curious, up here, and I will leave a link in the description below to it so you can check it out if you're unfamiliar with what I'm talking about. So thank you for leaving your comments. And I want to leave this video to give you a little bit of a way of a path forward so you can be successful if you are someone out there that is looking to purchase a home. And the first thing that starts with is you need to have a really great real estate professional who understands the market and how to navigate it. Not only that, they should be able to give you an appropriate price on a home regardless of what the listing price is. So that means whether the property is overlisted, underlisted, or appropriately listed, they are giving you a price that you can take into account that other buyers who are in similar conditions would pay for that property. That way you can make an educated decision on whether that property is right for you. And the other piece that I'll leave you with is you need a rock star mortgage provider. This is incredibly important, so much that I just did a video on this, sharing a story that you probably want to hear about a client who not only lost $1,200, but much, much more, all due to their mortgage provider. The thumbnail looks like this, and I will leave a link down below in the description so you can access that one as well. So now that you've got multiple videos linked down below in the description, I also have left my email address down there because we do have a multiple offer guide checklist that we've created with over 18 strategies on how you can be successful in a multiple offer situation. And it isn't just about putting your price higher. So if you want a copy of that, be sure to email us. We'll be happy to send it over. And of course, in the description, as always, there is a link to my calendar. So if you're someone that is in my local marketplace of Surrey or surrounding neighborhoods, and you're feeling a little lost in either the home buying or the home selling process, we'd love to have a call with you to let you know what we can do to help you be successful. Hey, look, I want to thank you for watching this video. I want to thank you for commenting, and I want to thank you for subscribing to make sure that you don't miss any of these videos we're releasing on a regular basis to help you become a better homeowner, a better home seller, or a better home buyer. Thanks again for watching, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the next video. Cheers.